All right, we are on page 35. I didn't get this finished. I wanted to get it done before this stream, but I just got caught up with people visiting and regular work stuff. So we're going to finish this off tonight, and then we'll get to work on the next page. So hope everybody's having a good evening. They messed with the streaming software, so if anybody sees any weird bits with the stream, they changed Restream a little bit, so just let me know if anything's acting kind of weird or something's not showing up or what have you. I would appreciate it whenever they do any of these changes. I can't always test it in advance. I just don't have the time. So we just kind of had to wing it. So right now I'm just kind of going back over, this is a brush pen, and you need to actually go in and darken some of the lines that got a little light. This is one of the less fun jobs of comic production, is making sure that the lines will be visible when we scan them. And then we go to lay the color over top of them. It did some weird thing. I don't know how to fix it, but if you go back to the page, I would make you a bet that it created a different page. If you go to like the current live streams, it might be in there. It might have created a separate page. Even though I told it to go to the old page, sometimes it does that weird stuff. I tried and it just acted weird. I don't know what it did. I'll take a look here at the channels window to see if there's anything, because it says that it's on and that it's streaming. So yeah, sorry about that. I had a feeling it was going to do that, even though I connected it to the page I'd already set up. It was just one of those where I've seen this episode before. So I don't know why it did. I don't know why they changed it. It was perfect. I don't like the new interface as of now, but you know, once I study it a little bit, maybe I'll see that there is a purpose behind some of these things. As you can see in this panel, they are capturing Liquid Lad, and they're going to put one of the sponges on top of him that will turn him into one of their drones, just like they are. So, will that happen? No, it won't, because on the next page you see that, you know, Undersea Hero sees this fish, grabs this fish, and then swings it like a baseball bat and knocks the sponge off of his head before it takes control, and then he smacks the other two guys with the fish. So 3 guys. So that's what we're working on. I actually have to tighten up this a little bit. How are you doing tonight, Mike? What's new on your end? You working on pages? You working on a pinup? Just hanging out? Enjoying the fine weather? Fine weather. Working on a page. Nice. Nice. I did post an official update to the Kickstarter. I know we talked about it here on the stream, but I just let everybody that backed it know that the book's going to be, it's running late. I put all the pertinent information in there. You know, you guys, anybody that comes on the stream regularly knows that I moved, had to get a design job, but some people don't always check it out. I directed them here, so if there's any new people around, you know, be just as kind and excellent as you always are to chat with. I know everybody has different schedules, so like different people pop on at different times. Some people catch the reruns. So I saw that Terrificon was this past weekend. It looked like it was a good show for everybody. It's always a good artist show. I've never actually done that show. because for years I worked for a company that was a rival of theirs, and I was not allowed to set up there. But if I were afforded the opportunity to set up there in the future, I absolutely would. Still trying to get stuff buttoned up for Baltimore. That has been a challenge. Trying to work with NEC and get some surprises there, since it's a big Tick show. Since the Tick is the theme character this year. I should have laid this panel out differently, but I'm kind of locked in at the moment. It's one of those where when I finish the whole book and I flip through all the originals, I'm gonna give myself 5 redraws, and that's it. 5 panels to read that I'm allowed to change and redraw at the end. Otherwise, I would be wanting to redraw too many things, and we can't have that. Can't have that. We got to get this sucker done. Some people said that the panel I posted was a little scary. When I color it, I promise it'll be less scary. When you see the colors of everything and all the bright colors, I can promise you that it will be much less scary looking than in black and white. Just had a handful of folks pop in. So welcome aboard, episode 110, 111, 111, Jesus. We've been at this a while, haven't we? I'm hoping when we finish Undersea Hero, we can even do like 1-page stories in an evening, or break down a script, or do actual like sequential exercises that might help people. The kind of stuff that I like to draw. These big projects are killer, I gotta tell you. I mean, I think the book would have done just as well on Kickstarter if it wasn't, 50 pages, but I got greedy. I didn't follow my own advice. Should have done a shorter book as my first Kickstarter, but we'll make it through. We will get it done. Dr. Mask's Retro Elixir. Hey, thanks for popping on. Welcome aboard. We're working on page 35. Yeah, I hear it's a great show. I always have. I just happen to work for a company that forbade me from setting up there for a period of time, which I no longer work for them. So everybody says it's a great one. Yeah, for not just the fans, but the artists always say it's great. People make money, which is when you're paying most of your own way to do a convention, you got to make some money to cover your expenses. Hotel rooms aren't free. At least for me, they usually aren't. Some people, occasionally a convention will throw me a hotel room. Not often. Usually I'm a guy that just gets a table. They don't see me as a big enough draw for those resource allocations. So that's why I only do the shows that, I can afford to do. And this year I've backed way off just to work on this book to get this thing done. Hey, money to pay bills would be good. As long as we can cover the experience, and if we make a little extra, that's great. cover the experience, cover the taxes. That generally is, I'm not a greedy guy. I've got a design job now that pretty much handles the bills. But like I said, any little extra is great. If I can go out to dinner one extra time or something, that's always a plus. And I'm looking at all kinds of different stuff. Yeah, I heard there were tons of people there. So they had a great set of creators. I saw that Ron Garney got his buddy Keanu to show up for a few hours. Ron is a terrific artist. He really is. Met him a handful of times over the years. He was always very polite and kind. He would look at my portfolio. We traded books at one event. And heck, even at I saw him like 2 or 3 shows in a year, and by the third one, he remembered my name. So I always appreciate that. Yeah, different shows they depend on the creator. Some shows don't care who you are; they'll make you pay for a table, unless you're Neil Gaiman or Greg Capullo level. Um, Other shows will give you a table, or they'll give you a spot, or they'll throw you some gas money. That's always appreciated too. I did a signing not that long ago at a store. Now it was a long time ago. It was last year, and the owner was kind enough to throw some gas money. Bought us dinner and threw us a little gas money. It was a pretty long drive to get there, so yeah. I don't generally do Connecticut shows because they got some pretty tough sales tax restrictions where they make you file returns like the rest of the year. But I did hear that they just this year implemented a temporary permit, so maybe they've changed that, which would be great, and I would do more shows there. Um, Michael says that he thinks New Hampshire has a new convention that is solely comic book focused. I mean, the Little Giant show in Concord is the comic focused one that I've been attending a few times now. Um, Jason that runs it's always really nice. He's always supported my work. He's a fan of the Tick, so that always is a plus when it comes to me being at a show, is if the owner likes the characters you've worked on. Because they're almost all privately owned, so it's kind of at the whim, of the taste of the owner a lot of the times, unless they really do delegate that stuff, which is in the medium-sized shows, which is rare. Usually the shot caller makes all of the decisions like that, like who shows up, what artists get what. It varies to a degree, but it usually comes down to 1 or 2 people making the call on the check being signed. And I saw Colorado Springs is coming up. I will not be back there this year. And I even told people at the show last year, because I kind of knew that my time with the company was short, that I might not be back at that show. I would like to do Denver. I've heard great stuff about Denver, so I would consider, flying out there for Denver. Little Giant for me is like one of my favorite shows. And I've told people this plenty of times. It's the type of show I would like to shop at and just go walk around because there's tons of comic books of like any price point. If you want to spend $1 million on a comic, or if you want to spend $1 on a comic, uh, they have all that stuff, and it's not too big. I don't like just goofing off at like just a gigantic show. I love a small comic focused show. There's a little show that they still do in Franklin. That's just a bunch of local dealers, and it used to be. Um, yeah, I forgot where I was going, but yeah, I highly recommend it, Michael. I think you'd really like that show. Sorry. Hey, Andrew. Yeah, I'd love to get to Chicago. I mean, I'm sure I'd have to pay my whole way to do any of those shows. So I have not been to a show in Chicago since I was in college. So it would be a lot of fun. And I've got friends out there, so I get to visit some people I haven't seen in a few years. Sorry, got a little deflated. Got a work text. Well, maybe this will be the only page we get to work on tonight. I don't know. One of those moments. Liquid Land has the little short sleeves on, but gotta have like the hands of the other guy showing. When I end up having to draw such complicated little tiny people, that's when I get frustrated actually. With little sketches like this. I don't mind doing full figures, of course, in a in a full panel where it's taking up a chunk of the panel. But when you got to draw these little complex people, I do. I get a little frustrated at these. Of course, now I can't focus because of that text message. Any other lessons learned from the Kickstarter? I mean, I did everything with the best of intentions, and like, my life basically got completely overturned, and I either had a choice to like go forward with it and just do my best, or hold off on it for probably what would have been another year. Um, and I decided to push forward, and it'll be a little late, but it'll get done, and hopefully people will still like it. I did learn some stuff about, at least while you're running your Kickstarter, a lot of stuff where like I didn't realize there were so many predatory companies out there trying to like latch on to creators. That was one of those things I didn't expect. The like promotion services and like these phony offers that they can like help get more reach, even though that's just not. I just don't see it being true. Otherwise, these companies would be more well known. That's why it seemed very predatory, and it was the types of emails they were sending, which that was pretty shocking to me that these things were just. And you get messages through Kickstarter, so like through the platform, they would message your campaign and be like, "Hey, we can do this, and X, Y, and Z for you." So, and I'm looking at how I'm going to publish myself going forward. I don't know if it's going to be Kickstarter. I don't know if I'm going to do a Patreon, and then if I feel like publishing a book out of what I post, maybe I'd go that route. Um, but I'm not going to stop making comics or anything. I'm just still trying to figure out how I want to put myself out there going forward. One of my favorite models, and it doesn't make you any money while you're doing the books themselves, is the Mike Vosberg model, where he just posts them on his website for free. And then when he's satisfied with enough of them, he'll offer a print copy for sale. But when I mention that, I get tisked by other creators telling me not to give my work away. But I don't know. I don't see it that way. I did the similar thing when I did Iron Face, where like we didn't have the book done before launching, and it wasn't my call. So and it turned out fine, but that was just like a single issue, so that was like a lot easier. Even though I was doing pencil inks and colors and like doing all of the labor. Um, you know, well, I mean, I hope people are cool, but I just really didn't have a choice. Like there was no. I've been working on this thing every day, without fail, and I've given this book all of my time. I've given it my entire summer. I've given it just every possible moment. So like, there's just no. It is an impossible thing to change. But thankfully, because of the Kickstarter, my buddy Jesse is going to help me by laying flats. When we get the line art done, the coloring and the lettering should move along pretty quickly, especially with the style of coloring with the retro bright flat colors. So I'm rather confident that that'll move along pretty quick. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm probably just gonna do this panel and call it a night because, yeah, that text message really bothered me. So, kind of lost all my gusto. Yeah, I provide updates every week on here, so I hope that serves as a. I think weekly is pretty good, and it's open to the public. So if somebody needs to come on here and tell me I'm the worst person of all time for having a late comic book, which has happened before. Yeah, drawing these tiny little people, I gotta tell you, it's not my favorite thing. But we'll do our best. Because it's gonna be reduced even more. So this person that is this big is gonna actually be about this big on the so it'll be 60%. So it'll be about that tall. Yeah, it's and it's so easy to mess up the proportions or the in a way that just like completely destroys your perspective. And I've practiced at it quite a bit, but it's still like it's a skill doing the little tiny people. Um, some people are great at it. Obviously, I think of someone like George Perez as being great at drawing the tiny little people for his giant group poster shots or splash pages where you'd have like the entire just every member of the Justice League and the Avengers all on one same picture. those wraparound covers for JLA Avengers. Yeah, he comes to mind first with the drawing the little tiny, like walls of tiny people. Yeah. Do I do any digital art is the question. I do, but I find that enlarging it just makes the page take too long and you're going to be spending time on stuff that doesn't show up at all. So I've actually gone to using more broad tip pens and more brush to keep myself from getting bogged down in that stuff because it doesn't reproduce. If you're printing, like if you're doing a digital reproduction, sure, you can zoom in 10 million percent, but I've backed off on a lot of that stuff. I wish I had one of my smaller pages here with me. I've done some small little visual experiments just to keep my brain fresh, and I like solving new visual challenges, and that's something that I've been uh, just burdened with lately because of all the changes in my life. I'm changing how I do some of my art, so that when Undersea Hero is done, I don't know if I'm ever going to draw an 11 by 17 again for interior pages, but we'll see. I've found that working on smaller paper also prevents me from noodling too much. That's something that I'm guilty of for sure. And when I first did some digital stuff, like the Wally the Green Monster books and stuff, like those were all done digitally. There's a handful of things that I've had to do digitally, and obviously, like any logo design, any of the, there's certain types of illustration you have to do digitally um, for commercial work. So, and there are benefits to it, yeah, like there definitely are, especially with backgrounds when you need your to move your vanishing points just with a couple of clicks rather than drawing a whole new grid. There are plenty of benefits to it, but considering what my relationship is with comics at this point, I want to draw, I want my lettering on the boards. That's another thing that I'm doing with pages going forward. I'm hand lettering everything. you know, a creator like Steve Mannion, I like his output. So he would be someone to like if you saw some of his pages. They're 9 by 12. Craig Russo's done 9 by 12, and you know, I really like how that is feeling, and honestly, just how long it takes. Uh, you know, I do mostly by hand lettering, and I prefer, you know, kind of full of character hand lettering that has its flaws than I do when there's lettering sitting on top of artwork and it doesn't match the line, it doesn't match the hand at all. So we went into like a big long lettering discussion on one of the prior streams just about how if it's lettered by the same person that drew it, even if the lettering is not like all world, um, it fits better. It just does. It just looks better. It fits better. It doesn't look out of place. Even when it's like a weird, you know, big sound effect, it just looks correct. Um, so we're gonna darken some of these lines. We're gonna go back in with our eraser. See, we got some fish swimming by, and then Undersea Hero grabs one and then swings it like a baseball bat. Not a lot of hand letterers anymore. And look, I just like how it looks. I wish I had one of those pages with me, but I don't. Um, I did one a couple of years ago, and I did it with Zipatone. It was that monster piece with the cat. I did Zipatone on it with hand lettering, and yeah, that was kind of the beginning of the okay. Let's go this route instead of going fully the other way. And I just I like it. I don't know if it'll matter to anybody that looks at my work or wants to publish my work. Um, hell, I mean, nobody might want to publish my work, so it might all be just coming from me. But I just find it rewarding to have everything all together. And honestly, the pages take less time. You know, in order to do this page, full pencils, full inks, scan it, lay flats, do colors, letter. It just takes so much longer. There's so much more labor involved. If I pencil and ink just on a 9 by 12, and then it has, let's say, instead of 12 panels, it's got 6, and I do some grayscale or I do some watercolor on it with the lettering, and it's ready to print. You know, then I just have to scan it and color correct it. You know, my handwriting is pretty good, so that's another thing that I have going for me. And you know, I've practiced for a long time. You know, if I was, you know, going to be, this is a broad pen, so, but yeah, you know, that's where it would be. That's how it would look for the most part. The Zipatone that I have is a combination of products. Some of them are old stock that I actually bought off of eBay. That some of them were found in England. I imported them, and then you also can get the deleter screens, which they use to make manga still. The only place that still makes it is in Japan. And that's the deleter brand, and it's not cheap. It is expensive, but if you want that look, there's only one way to do it. So. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Should we try to work on the next page, or should we call it a night? That was I did not enjoy getting that work text. It's kind of throwing me off mentally. But I'll try. If you guys want me to try, I will try. Hey, it's Joe St.Pierre, so I guess we got to stay. The deleter sheets, they're okay. Um, you know, if you get the correct knife to cut them and you do the overlays, they look good. I've used them on several single pieces, and I'm looking to do some short stories with him after Undersea Hero. And I've bought old Zipatone that I still need to finish scanning. That's why I haven't used it and I haven't released the scans. People ask me for the scans of the old Zipatones. I bought old stock Zipatone. One batch was from I want to say Mississippi, and then the other one was from England. They were in an attic. They smell like cigars or pipe or whatever. But I've got dozens of sheets of old Zipatone. So I guess we'll try. I guess we'll try. That was an annoying text. I'm not pleased. But yeah, there's page 35, where Undersea Hero, you see Liquid Lad is getting the sponge put on his head. Undersea Hero sees these fish, grabs one, and then our next page, he's using it like the fish like a baseball bat. Yeah, exactly, Joe. But I don't know. I'll probably use the old Zipatone on a few pieces or a short story that has a purpose to it, whether it's a horror story or something that I think it would be worth using the finite resource. Joe St.Pierre has a Kickstarter available right now. I have the link in the description of this video. You can go there and check it out. There's all kinds of rewards and artwork, and one of the only opportunities if you want a sketch from me, other than this Kickstarter that we've been working on, is that one, and then just in person at Baltimore. So if anytime, Joe. We have a team up there, so it would be either me penciling and Joe inking, or Joe penciling and me inking, whatever the purchaser wants or whatever the description says. I don't remember. The last one I did was a shredder. So if you wanted to get a Ninja Turtles piece or I've done in my career, I've done Batman, I've done Ninja Turtles numerous times. The Tick, obviously, for years, Power Rangers, Conan, Red Sonja, Vampirella, Elvira. What the hell else have I done that I've done so many licensed products, but I've also done a bunch that nobody's ever heard of. So like, oh, thanks. But yeah, I actually think we are going to call it a night. That whole text message thing I had to do threw me off, and I don't want to do a poor job on this page. So it's a short stream tonight. Thanks everybody for popping in. We're on to page 36, and yeah, hopefully next week I will see you guys there, and I hope you have a great rest of your week and a good weekend. And yeah, it happens. Part of being an adult. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Joe. I will catch you guys later. Have a great weekend. Good night.